For decades, one theory reigned supreme in American archaeology: the Clovis first model. It was a powerful, elegant, and widely accepted narrative that provided a clear and concise answer to one of humanity's great questions: when and how did people first arrive in the Americas? The story was compelling. It held that the earliest humans, skilled big-game hunters, entered North America roughly 13,000 years ago. They crossed a vast, now submerged landmass known as the Bering Land Bridge, which connected Siberia to Alaska. As the colossal ice sheets that covered much of the continent began to part, these pioneers followed migrating herds of megafauna, mammoths, mastodons, and giant bison, southward through a newly opened ice-free corridor. This single migration event was believed to be the foundational moment for all subsequent human history in the hemisphere. The evidence for this model was as distinctive as the theory itself: the Clovis point. These masterfully crafted spear points with their characteristic central groove, or flute, were found scattered across North America from coast to coast. Their consistent age, clustering around 13,000 years before present, made them the definitive calling card of the continent's first inhabitants. For generations of archaeologists, finding a Clovis point was the gold standard, the marker that established a site as one of the oldest in the New World. This technological signature became the icon of the oldest American settlement, a cornerstone upon which the entire edifice of the continent's deep history was built. The Clovis first model wasn't just a theory, it was archaeological doctrine, the bedrock of certainty. But scientific models are only as strong as the evidence that supports them. And what happens when new evidence emerges that doesn't fit the established narrative? Deep in the arid, windswept basins of Oregon, far from the presumed ice-free corridor, a series of discoveries began to quietly disturb that bedrock of certainty. In the dusty floors of ancient rock shelters, patient excavation was uncovering a different story, one written in layers of sediment, volcanic ash, and stone. Each fragment of a tool, each piece of an ancient animal's tooth, raised a simple but profound question. What if the story was wrong? What if people were here thousands of years earlier? At a site known as Rimrock Rock Shelter, archaeologists began to unearth artifacts sealed beneath a thick, datable layer of volcanic ash from an ancient eruption of Mount St. Helens. The tools they found were not Clovis, and the dates they were getting were far, far older. The implications were staggering. If humans were in Oregon more than 18,000 years ago, they could not have used the ice-free corridor, which was still blocked by a mile-high wall of ice. They must have arrived by another route at another time. This single site in Oregon held the potential to dismantle a century of archaeological consensus. If proven true, it changes everything: the timelines, the migration routes, and the very story we tell about the first Americans. A new chapter in our continent's history was waiting to be written. In the high desert of Oregon, a quiet investigation was underway that would soon challenge the very foundations of American prehistory. The turning point came not with a dramatic flourish, but with the patient scrape of a trowel against sediment at the Rimrock Rock Shelter. Here, in the shadow of a towering basalt overhang, a team of archaeologists led by the University of Oregon's Patrick O'Grady began to meticulously document a precise, undisturbed sequence of geological layers, a natural calendar of deep time. For years, the site yielded clues, but the most profound discovery lay sealed beneath a well-known telltale horizon. Above the key discovery layer sat a thick, distinctive cap of volcanic ash, identified as originating from a massive eruption of Mount St. Helens that occurred roughly 15,000 years ago. In archaeology, such a layer is a priceless time marker. Anything found sealed beneath it must, by the simple law of superposition, be older, and what the team found there was extraordinary. At the Rimrock Rock Shelter, archaeologists unearthed not just one, but two crucial pieces of evidence from this ancient, sealed context. First, a collection of finely crafted stone tools, including a scraper made of vibrant orange agate, a material not native to the immediate area. The tool showed clear signs of human modification, designed for processing animal hides. Alongside it, they found fragments of tooth enamel. Analysis confirmed they belonged to an extinct species of camel, a form of Ice Age megafauna that roamed North America during the Pleistocene. The association was direct and undeniable. Human artifacts found in the same sealed layer as the remains of an extinct animal. This was not a campsite. It was a time capsule. The crucial question was, how old was it? The camel tooth enamel containing organic carbon was sent for accelerator mass spectrometry, or AMS radiocarbon dating. The scientific community held its breath. For decades, the Clovis first theory dictated that humans arrived no earlier than 13,000 years ago. But the results from the lab delivered a shocking verdict. The fragments were not 13,000, but over 18,000 years old, dating to approximately 18,250 years before the present. The implications were staggering. An age of over 18,000 years places people in Oregon millennia before the proposed ice-free corridor between the continental glaciers would have been open and viable for migration. This was not a simple anomaly. The evidence was built on the bedrock of stratigraphy, the clear, undisturbed layering of sediment with the volcanic ash providing an irrefutable seal. The camel enamel provided an independent biological anchor, tying the human-made tools to a lost ecosystem of Ice Age giants. Piece by piece, the quiet rock shelter in Oregon was transforming into a ledger of deep time, presenting a powerful, evidence-based argument that this was potentially the oldest definitive human-occupied location yet found in all of North America. It was a discovery that changes everything. From a single, unassuming rock shelter in the high desert of Oregon, a timeline stretching back an astonishing 18,000 years has been painstakingly secured. The implications are immense, rippling through the very foundations of American archaeology. At Rimrock Draw, the evidence is written in stone and sediment. The precise stratigraphy, with its clear layers of occupation, sealed beneath a datable cap of volcanic ash, provides an unassailable geological clock. Beneath that ash, the discovery of camel tooth enamel alongside finely crafted stone tools confirms a pre-Clovis human presence in Oregon. These were not just artifacts, they were proof of people living alongside Ice Age megafauna, adapting to a fierce and unfamiliar climate. This discovery alone proves humans were navigating the continent thousands of years before the famed ice-free corridor even opened. This finding powerfully supports the theory of a much earlier coastal migration. It suggests that the first Americans arrived not as a single wave of terrestrial hunters, but as maritime pioneers, following the resource-rich kelp highway along the Pacific coast. This changes the entire timeline of the peopling of the Americas. The evidence from Rimrock Draw is powerfully corroborated by the discoveries at Paisley Caves. Here, directly dated human coprolites, fossilized feces, provided the biological smoking gun, placing people in Oregon around 14,300 years ago. The DNA extracted from these samples confirmed their Native American ancestry, forging an undeniable link between these ancient individuals and the present day. Furthermore, the tools found at these sites, belonging to the Western-stemmed tradition, represent a technology entirely distinct from the iconic fluted Clovis points. Different tools, different dates, and direct genetic proof all converge on a single revolutionary conclusion: the consequence is profound. The story of the oldest American settlement is no longer a simple tale beginning 13,000 years ago on the Bering Land Bridge. It is a deeper, more complex past that began thousands of years earlier and likely arrived by sea. We didn't just push back a date, we unlocked a whole new untold story. The coastal migration model reframes the first chapter of human history on this continent, replacing a single pulse with a more realistic picture of diverse groups and multiple routes of entry. This is the one truth that changes everything. As ongoing excavations continue to refine dates and methods, Oregon stands as a cornerstone of this new narrative, a testament to resilient pioneers, innovative toolmakers, and ancestors whose legacy reaches deep into the past and continues into the present. The story is still unfolding, layer by patient layer, revealing that the human journey in the Americas began long before we ever thought possible. The stone tool from the Oregon Desert is more than an artifact. It's a silent witness to a sophisticated culture that survived the Ice Age. The oldest settlement in America has now been unearthed, and the history books of the world are being rewritten in its dust. Please subscribe to our channel, History Documentary Hub, for more insightful videos and intriguing content.